Hi, you are about to engage in the Guidebooks unit Shutting Out the Sky. You will be reading the nonfiction stories of people who came to the United States during the 1800s from many other countries. The purpose of this video is to help you understand what life was like in the tenements where many poor immigrants lived when they arrived in the United States at that time. Understanding tenement living and the reformers who made life better for immigrants will help you to highlight important ideas as you engage in the text, Shutting Out the Sky. Be sure you have your handout and something to write with for this video. Imagine living in buildings described like this. They are great, prison-like structures of brick with narrow doors and windows, cramped passages, and steep, rickety stairs. The narrow courtyard in the middle is a damp, foul-smelling place. In case of fire, they would be perfect death traps. The drainage is horrible and seemed to be contaminated by its surroundings and have a rotten smell. These buildings were called tenements. Tenements were homes to most of the immigrants who came to the United States in the late 1800s. Big cities were filled with tenements. But how did immigrants end up in such horrible living conditions? There are a few reasons why so many immigrants moved into the cities or urban areas in the 1800s. Ports were located in big cities, like New York. Millions of immigrants got off of the ships at these ports. With no money for transportation, they would settle where they were dropped off. Also, more products were being made in the factories, which were located in bigger cities. Factories required lots of workers and provided lots of job opportunities. Immigrants flooded into cities to take advantage of these new job opportunities. But large populations in small spaces meant people had to crowd in. To make room in the cities, tenement houses, similar to apartment buildings, were quickly constructed and housed lots of people. As many people as could possibly fit were tightly packed into these small spaces. The building's owners made money from charging rent from their tenants. Buildings that were meant to hold just a few families were divided into smaller and smaller areas to fit everyone. New immigrants, desperate for work, settled for rundown buildings where an entire family would have to live in one room. Now you are ready to explain what caused city populations to increase in the 1800s. Pause this video to record your answers on your handout at the first stop sign. Then hit play when you are ready to continue. There are many reasons why populations increased in cities during the 1800s. You may have noted that immigrants arrived in ports near large cities and settled nearby. Also, large factories provided lots of jobs filled by immigrants. Tenements were not just small, but poorly maintained as well. Very little light or air could get into these cramped spaces. A health official in 1886 described the tenements like this. These streets were uncleaned, houses were crowded and badly ventilated and lighted. Toilets were unconnected with the sewers and overflowing. Cattle were driven through the streets at all hours of the day in large numbers and endangered the lives of the people. Without indoor plumbing, tenants had to use a single toilet outside of the building. There was no running water inside to wash up. In the 1880s, more than half the entire population of New York City lived in these tenements. Too many people in dirty living spaces meant that disease spread easily. In 1849, a cholera epidemic broke out in New York City caused by dirty water and food. 5,000 people, mainly living in tenements, died of this horrible disease. 8,000 more were dying every year from a different disease, tuberculosis, also caused by unclean conditions. People knew something needed to be fixed or done to change this problem. The Tenement House Act of 1867 set some rules to try and make these buildings safer and more livable. For example, the law required at least one toilet for every 20 people. But these rules were not often followed by the building owners, and tenants continued to live in dangerous conditions. Now you are ready to describe the dangerous conditions that tenement housing had. Pause this video to record your answers on your handout at the second stop sign. Then hit play when you are ready to continue. You should have described tenements as overcrowded, dirty, and unhealthy. There was little light and air because apartments were separated into several small living areas. Toilets were outside and not connected to sewers. Disease passed easily in these cramped spaces. Reformers were people who wanted to help make a change and improve life for poor immigrants. One reformer and newspaper reporter, Jacob Riz, put together a number of articles and photos about tenement life. His book, called How the Other Half Lives, was extremely popular. The book drew attention to the awful living conditions in tenements. Readers were horrified to see images like this. One of children playing in the street next to a dead horse. They were shocked to learn that 1 in 10 babies were living in these tenements. They died. Everyone took notice. The new tenement house law was passed in 1901. This law required that new tenements be built to be safer, cleaner, and more comfortable. All apartments had electric lights, windows for fresh air, access to a fire escape, and flushable toilets and bathrooms, shared between only 2 families. Reformers also built settlement houses or community centers in inner cities to provide services to poor immigrants. In Chicago, Jane Addams and Ellen Starr established Hull House, the nation's most successful settlement house. Hull House took up a full city block and included a gym, theater, art gallery, music school, auditorium, cafeteria, kindergarten program, library, post office, and a daycare. Immigrants' lives were greatly improved with these services. Reformers also came from the federal government. President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal program cleared out slums across America and built acceptable housing for families with little bit of money. Now you are ready to describe the reform efforts made to improve tenement living. Name 2 ways that reformers like Jacob Riz, Jane Addams, Ellen Starr, and even President Franklin Roosevelt addressed in these problems with the tenements. Pause the video to record your answers on your handout at the third stop sign. Then hit play when you are ready to continue. You might have explained that Jacob Riz showed Americans what life in tenements was really like by using powerful photographs in his book, How the Other Half Lives. These photos made it clear that families were living in filth, and landlords were not following the rules of the Tenement Housing Act of 1867. Or you may have described Hull House of Chicago, a giant community center that offered essential services like schooling and child care to families in need. You may have also noted that President Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal program built cleaner, safer houses for poor people to replace unsafe tenements. In this video, you learned about life in the dirty, cramped tenements where poor immigrants settled in the 1800s. You also met some of the reformers who forced the government to provide safer housing for immigrant communities. Knowing about tenement living in the 1800s is important to understanding how hard it was for an immigrant at that time to live the American dream. This knowledge will help you to analyze the text in the guidebook's unit, Shutting Out the Sky.